So let's head to editorial now. In this week's segment, we will welcome Randy Davidson, former lecturer of philosophy, training consultant, who's pivoted to cybersecurity threat intelligence research to share a perspective on how Jamaica's been doing technologically in this 60th year of independence. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me.
Good. Go ahead and share your thoughts with us.
All right. So this is in the form of a monologue. It is a heartfelt reflection, a philosophical reflection on how Jamaica has been doing technologically since we got independence. So independence is not only an event in history, it's also a process. August 6, 1962 was the beginning of that process, where we had for the first time the freedom and responsibility to be who we want to be in the way that we see fit. So from a technology perspective, what does it mean to be independent? It means that we're no longer ruled by an entity that is external to us, yes, but it also means that we will have to fend for ourselves. And this is especially true of designing, building, maintaining, repairing our technology in all of the sectors associated with it. So farming, media, education, transportation, and so on. Now, understanding technology and knowing how to use it makes us 1,000 times more powerful. We can find ways to implement it, but we have to do it for our own good, of course. Nobody's going to do it for us, and even if they do, chances are, if we're being honest, we're probably going to get the short end of the stick. So we'll have to, implement it in our best interest. Other countries may have more people than us, pretty small country, and a lot of countries have a head start in their developments as well. But what Jamaica has is raw talent. So we're already an athletics factory, we're a dance and music factory, we're a food factory, you name it. And very slowly, we're becoming a technology factory as well. We need to ask ourselves questions like, well, how does my tablet and my computer work? How does a car convert fuel into movement? How does a battery store and release electricity? How does our, Wi-Fi and GPS work? Things about how our technology in our lives work. We need to start asking these questions to familiarize ourselves with how they work, not only so that we can have some input in improving them, but also learning how to use them safely. And, maybe even if you want to go down that line, we can make, technology of our own. But the truth is, as a people, we love foreign things. We tend to downplay many of the products that are made locally. But it is equally true that there's also an inventor and scientist in the heart of every Jamaican. Like if you're old enough at least, think back to the time when we were children, when we made our box trucks and our kites and our gigs, paper planes, push carts, all of those things. We're very resourceful, and we use mostly things that we had to recycle. We were learning practical physics, chemistry, and sustainable engineering. Even just as children doing those things, we were technologists. Remember that feeling of pride and accomplishment that when you make something in your own hands. This is the pride and joy of a single Jamaican, but it has the potential to become the pride and joy of all Jamaicans. Technology, can give this gift to us. We have to encourage our children and our teens to use devices, reasonably, responsibly. Learn about the technologies that they're curious about. Get them into coding, get them into the different STEM fields. Rather than having them trapped down the perpetual rabbit hole of entertainment that takes away their time and ends up giving them little to nothing in return. Jamaica is very ripe for even just, technology hobbyists that can be, and you can make it into a lifelong career if you want to go down that path. Learning how to make homemade solar panels, miniature hydroelectric power generators. You can build one on the street in like a river nearby. You can make windmills, saltwater desalinizers that remove salt from seawater and make it drinkable. Geiger counters that are able to detect and measure radiation. The list goes on. There's so many things that you could just build for fun that you can find out how they work on the internet, as well as how to build them for yourself. Such technologies are in local and global demand. And learning these technologies, you can build them for yourself, but you may find that you even make unique use cases, and it leads to revolutions, that can have a global impact. Naysayers would say that, you shouldn't bother reinventing the wheel, but honestly, sometimes that's exactly what we need. Sometimes we think the wheel is so good and perennial, but we only think that until the next invention comes around that totally replaces it. And nobody ever sees it coming. Jamaican can be that bastion of technological information. We just have to, with innovation, sorry, we have to dive in. But another harsh truth when it comes to us and tech is that we're afraid of it because many of us don't like change. We don't like to come out of our comfort zone because we're afraid. And you know what? That's actually okay. A little bit of fear is actually healthy, but we shouldn't let fear deter us from taking action. We should utilize that fear to try and build ourselves up and our country so that we can live in a world that we're not afraid of. And despite many of the drawbacks we've experienced, culturally, historically, we've also made great progress. There are local robotics competitions held now between high schools, annually. The new coding academy that has popped up recently at Heart NSTA that's outputting really smart students. The NCST National Innovations Competition facilitated by the Ministry of Health, Energy and Technology each year. By the way, the deadline is July 31st. If anybody wants to enter real quick, if you have a nice invention or idea, go for it. These activities like these and the ingenuity of Jamaica, it will only help us to continue growth. Our infrastructure has been growing as well, slowly but surely. We have two major internet service providers. We have Jamaica Eye, which is our panopticon of cameras nationwide. And they're not just for crime, but they also help with finding missing people, monitoring natural disasters, finding out what happens at accidents and so on. NIDS, so it's our national ID system, which is streamlining digital resources and is going to be a big resource in preventing identity theft in Jamaica, which we're seeing a spike in right now due to different phishing scams. We're even one of the first countries in the world to have a digital currency, a central bank digital currency, the Jamdex, which everybody has been hearing about in the news recently, which hopefully will accelerate our local digital economic endeavors. I have to big up our entrepreneurs as well, our Jamaican entrepreneurs have been doing an amazing job with leveraging technology locally. So wireless and automated technology devices used in homes and on farms developed by our pre-labs, consumer neuroscience analysis and data analytics done locally by Blue Dot, climate change and impact projections done by the Mona Geoinformatics Institute. We've even made cars in Jamaica. A lot of people don't know this, but it's called the Island Cruiser, and it's made by a company called Excel Motors. However, there's always a caveat with things. Technology is not a simple gateway to a utopia. It is a tool, and we need to respect it.
We have to end it there, Randy, but it has been so good listening to you. We have a lot of morsels you gave us that we can chew on and think through. And I loved especially when you said very slowly we are becoming a technology factory. So thank you very much for sharing with us this evening, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
All right, thanks for having me.